What's good, YouTube? It's Jack from WhatCulture.com. Now, apologies if I get a little bit red in the face later on in the video because Peter Austin and Ben Potter from our gaming section were in here. Who knows what they were doing, but the room is sweltering right now. Me and Richard, the editor, burst in just before, like, what are you doing? Anyway, this is all the ups and downs from SmackDown Live. Let's go. First, we start off with an up because the opening segment was great. AJ Styles came out and was just a dick. He was shooting from the hip on John Cena, who came out to confront him, and basically AJ called him a part-timer. He said, I'm never going to back down from a lazy part-timer like you. You could argue that Cena's came back too soon after leaving his armband in the ring after his loss to AJ, but the fact that that was addressed in the promo means that I'm still going to give it an up. However, we're going to have a double segment point evaluation because later on in the same segment Shane came out and just gifted John Cena a title shot. That's right, Cena, despite losing clean to the current champion just a few weeks ago, has been gifted a title shot. He's been inserted in, making it a triple threat between Ambrose, Styles and Big Match John. Why, Shane? Shane. It's a down. I don't know why. We've seen this so often before. That match will, of course, take place at No Mercy in a couple of weeks' time, and it probably will be a really good match. I mean, I'm not going to doubt that Cena puts on great matches. It's just purely because of the booking logic. Next up, we got what was essentially a squash match, a rematch as well from Backlash. The Usos easily defeated the Hype Bros. It wasn't the longest match at all, but I'm going to give it an up just because it carries on the momentum of Jimmy and Jay. They look like really good heels, actually. Who would have thought? They're kind of like what everyone wants Roman Reigns to be, but in miniature form. And I think at some point, I certainly wouldn't complain if they teamed up with Roman, if they somehow ended up on the same brand one day and made like a little dickhead heel faction. That would be really good. But yeah, the Usos beat the Hype Bros. They attacked Zack Ryder's injured knee once again, and they pinned Mojo Rawley after cutting off his hot tag with a big super kick. So no complaints here, it's definitely another up. And in many ways, the recurring theme of this SmackDown was heels, who are ostensibly in the wrong, arguing with sound logic and really getting, you know, the fans on their side in a weird way. AJ basically told Cena off for being a part-timer, and this time The Miz scolded Ziggler for never earning his title shot in the first place. Daniel Bryan came out and said, look, Ziggler's going to get a rematch, and Miz said, no, mate, he never earned that title shot in the first place. I won. Why are you giving him another one? And it makes perfect sense. Something's wrong. I mean, we shouldn't be siding with the heels. Regardless of all that, The Miz is on fire. It was a good segment from top to bottom. That gets it up as well. Richard, the editor's just asked, so is Ziggler getting a rematch? And I should point out, that hasn't been confirmed yet. It probably will happen, but Miz is now in a weird sort of mini CM Punk situation where he says, look, I want to renegotiate my contract and I'm calling the shots here until that happens. And Bryan's just there like, bit of a coward, Bryan, as an authority figure. Shouldn't really say that, but Bryan's injured. Come on.
He's back for one more match against The Miz.
Leave this in so people can hear what you're saying. And next we got a monumental return, the likes of which we've not seen since Bret Hart came back. Jack Swagger is back on SmackDown. Oh, that's right, Swagger came down to the ring in what was arguably the worst segment of the night because it made Apollo Crews look weak. Baron Corbin easily dispatched him before the bell had even rung to start the match, or ringed. And then Swagger came down to the ring and Corbin just went, I don't want any part of Jack Swagger, lads. He rolled out the ring, that made him look weak, and then Jack Swagger cut a really awkward promo, and that made him look weak. Oh, down. Big shout out, however, to Jack Swagger's new catchphrase, which is, you may have seen me in the ring before, you may know what I'm all about, but you don't know Jack. He lost to Jinder Mahal on Raw. Rich is pointing that out behind the camera. And now he's coming out and Corbin's like, don't want any part of this badass mofo. Let's get out of here. Speechless. I wish Jack all the best, but poor. Now we get to the 5-woman #1 contenders match for Becky Lynch's WWE SmackDown Women's title. This was the perfect result, I think. Alexa Bliss stole the win. She would have been my #1 pick to face Becky at the next pay-per-view, and she is. No complaints here. It's an up. At the risk of sounding boring in this point, because there's nothing really else I can say, she was still dressed like Harley Quinn. Everyone loves a bit of that. Look, there was no complaints I could make about it. It was just it was exactly what I would have done. You people. It's Alexa o'clock, Next we come to Heath Slater and Rhino's first title defense as the new tag team champions. It pains me to do it because I love Heath Slater, but I'm going to give it a down just because it was a shoddy match. The Ascension came out and challenged them, and no one wants to see the Ascension. Connor and Victor, they really need a reboot of some sort, because we've never... In NXT, we learned that they were like demon spawn and they were badass and stuff. As soon as they moved to the main roster, they were just guys who wore paint, and they still are. One of them was a social outcast for a bit at a house show that me and Sam Driver went to. He just came out as one of the social outcasts. It was like, why? Regardless, I'm going to give it a down, but it was the right result. Heath Slater and Rhino retained, and they kept teasing little bits of discord between the enthusiastic Slater and the moody, it's Rhino, and the moody Rhino, but I'm afraid that's a down. Now we had another Randy Orton / Bray Wyatt segment. Orton came out to the ring, just but slower than that. And he cut a promo on Wyatt, then Wyatt appeared on the Tron and said, "Oh, I'm gonna get you, you Viper." No, he didn't say that. But he did say, "I'm gonna get you, you don't know what's coming your way." And then the lights went down, and when they came back up, Eric Rowan was stood in the ring and he attacked Randy Orton. Then he got hit by an RKO out of nowhere, and then Orton was like, "I'm so cool, I'm Randy Orton." And it makes Bray Wyatt look like an idiot again. Just to delve into what Bray Wyatt's logic was here, that's Eric Rowan. You saw him lose to The Rock in about 3 seconds at WrestleMania 32, and you're thinking, yeah, I'm going to put him in the ring with Randy Orton, and he's going to beat the shit out of him. He's going to do really well. Bray, at the risk of ripping on one of my favourite personas in WWE too much, he really is booked like an absolute idiot, isn't he? Needless to say, that was a down, but we move on to the next segment, which was sadly also a down. It was the main event tag match between John Cena and Dean Ambrose and the team of AJ Styles and a tag partner of his own choosing. But the problem for AJ is that he's been so mean recently that no one wants to be his tag partner. Kane brushed him off backstage. Eventually, he was told, "You have to partner with James Ellsworth," who is just my ultimate hero, I'm afraid, at the minute, lads. And the reason this segment's a down is because if you don't know who James Ellsworth is, he was a jobber on a recent TV episode, and he was brilliant. He was so he was just if I was a wrestler. I love him. He was so just unconfident. He knew he was going to get beaten up. It's amazing. That's exactly the character you want. And then Miz came out and took his place in the main event this week. He attacked him on the ramp. And I really wanted James Ellsworth in that main event spot. Like AJ dragging him out of trouble and stuff, but instead the Miz came out and took the spot, and I was in two minds whether to give this an up or a down, but then the Miz took the pinfall from Cena at the end. After all his good work, he falls victim to an attitude adjustment. Miz again is beaten by Cena for what feels like the 50th time in his career. I'm afraid that's a down, but we do have one more point, and maybe it's an up. And it is! Hooray! It is an up, and this is because of the post-match shenanigans after that main event, which of course the faces won, but then Dean Ambrose pretty much fully became a tweener at this point. Him and Cena celebrating after the match, holding each other's arms, and then Dean turned, drilled him with dirty deeds, and got all more like a lunatic than he's ever been in the past few months, really. It was really good ending to SmackDown, and thankfully, because it wasn't too bad a show, and I didn't want the scores to not reflect that, brings it to a draw, 5-5. Inconclusive ending, but hopefully things will get better from here. That's all the time we've had this week on Ups and Downs. I've been Jack from WhatCulture.com. I hope you've enjoyed it. Follow me on Twitter at Jack_the_jobber. Nothing more to say. I'll see you soon.
Do you want to see WCPW live but are allergic to the awful people of Newcastle? WCPW is coming to Greater Manchester on Saturday the 8th of October to the Altrincham Silver Blades Arena. Your ticket won't just get you a stat card featuring Cody Rhodes versus Kurt Angle, but will also grant you access to our first ever fan convention during the day. Meet the WhatCulture guys, have photos with your favourite WCPW wrestlers, a host of other surprises, and VIP members will get to meet Kurt Angle and Cody Rhodes in person. Tickets can be bought at wc.pw.